So take some deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth. And feel your back body rest into your support. Nice. And just notice the whole back body and how is it feeling? Is there any dull ache anywhere? You can have the knees bent for a while. Unless you have incredible freedom in the body, you can just allow them to flop. But spend a little time as you start to center in. And just notice a little rock of the back of the skull. A little bit of movement as the body starts to settle. Maybe a press into the feet, a little lift of the sit bones. You can lengthen them down towards the heels and then lower them onto the floor. A few times like that. And just notice what you have in your body. And what is it that our minds are like here? Are they foggy? Are they clear? What's your focus been like? Is it laser beam? Does it feel a little cluttered? Is it here or there and all over the map? But you're still happily, joyfully going through life. Perfect. And as settle, feel into the physical, the legs. Is there any dull ache? Is it heavy? Or is there a lightness? Is there ease in your body? And if you'd like to leave the knees bent, go ahead and heel toe them just a wee bit wider so the toes are inward. The inner knees can knock. And you can sense and feel wherever you are. If the legs are splayed out or if the knees are bent, feel into that lower half, right from the sit bones to the knees to the feet. From the inside out. Feel those beautiful eyes nicely closed here. And notice what that feels like. And then the upper half from the shoulders draping all the way down into the elbows like weights. The fingers curl. Sense and feel the breath now. Bring your awareness into each inhale and each luxurious exhale. Fill up the rib cage, the shoulders, and as you exhale, allow the shoulders to drape a little more and the back body to become heavy. We're going to come into a renewal breath through our four-part breath. So with the notion of renewing. So this is a great time to form your intention for your practice. So maybe it's, may I open up to all that beauty within and all around. May I allow all of this goodness to flow with ease, playfulness and laughter, complete enjoyment of all I am and all I'm becoming. May I be reminded each breath. Two cleansing breaths before we start our breath work here. So go ahead and take that next breath in and up all the way. Like a natural sigh, sigh that out. And again, pull that breath all the way in and up. Let the belly rise. A light little pause filled. In for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and in for 2 more. 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Last one. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. And let that breath go. Dive into your next natural breath. And as your body absorbs all of this nourishment, notice what you feel. The fullness of your breath. Does it feel like you need to catch your breath? Or did it just feel good to control the breath? Like a square is like that breath. So noticing how you feel. That's a perfect breath to tone the vagal nerve. So you might be feeling that emotional state, this bliss, this sattva. I like to think of it as connecting to your inner grin, that inner smile. So notice the fullness of the breath. Any dull ache might have shifted a wee bit. The state of mind might have shifted. And how about one more breath as your body absorbs? Observe this goodness. And then if the legs are splayed out and the feet are out to the side, go ahead and point the toes up to the ceiling and drag one heel. Notice the other side as you drag one side. And then as that foot plants and you drag the other leg, notice the opposite side. With the knees bent, go ahead, they're hip distance apart. Press into both feet evenly and let the sit bones rise just a wee bit off the floor. Lengthen them down towards the heels and let them lower without touching, so they'll hover just above. And so a continual movement. The sit bones will come up, lengthen down, and then lower without relaxing fully. And then one more like that. Lift, lengthen, and then lower all the way. Heel toe the legs wide and let the inner knees knock. And go ahead and interlace your fingers right up and send the palms out like a yawn. The thumbs away from the palms, and let one elbow become heavy. Feel the other elbow move away and notice the space between the elbows as one elbow might touch. Breathe evenly as you press through the palms, through the center, and then the opposite side. Breathing evenly here. In through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth as we start to marry the movement with the breath. Each exhale, the elbow comes down. As you fill the lungs, the palms come upward, outward. For one more this way. Deep breath, and then one more that way. As the palms come up and out, undo the fingers, press through the palms, feel the spaces between the fingers, and then relax that effort. And let the fingers gently roll around the wrist. A circular movement. Arms are upward. The hands are flopping around the wrist in one direction. And then the other direction. Go ahead and take all the fingers to the thumb and give it a flick while the arms start to move downward towards the floor. And then let the knuckles be heavy for a moment on the floor while you observe through the thumb, all the way up into the elbow crease, from the elbow all the way down to the fingers. Take another breath just like that. Then go ahead and let the knees come away from each other. Drag the sit bones one way while you roll the other. And come onto your back. Push the props off to the side and come right onto your back with the back of the skull down on the mat. The knees can be bent if your lower back is feeling a little tender. You can lengthen through one leg at a time slowly and just feel, is that okay? Knowing that pain is not an option. But if it does feel okay, then go ahead and lengthen through the other leg. Arms by your side, knuckles heavy. Allow the back of the skull to rock from side to side. Notice the sensation of the neck. And then pause. Take a deep breath and fill yourself right up through the rib cage, the heart center, the shoulders, and then exhale it all out. One more just like that. Fill yourself right up. And then empty. Observe the toes to the heels. Notice what's heavy on the mat. Through the calf, all the way nice and light through the back of the knee. You might feel a weight through the upper thigh down into the floor. One side might be hitting the floor a little differently than the other. Feel the sit bones, an evenness. The lower lumbar sacral area of that lower back. To the mid spine through the heart center of the sternum. Awareness fans broad and wide to the back of the shoulders. Feel the weight coming down into the floor after a long held back bend. Go ahead and take a breath right there. Take an internal snapshot of what we have in this moment. And then point the toes to the ceiling. As you move one leg by bending the knee and dragging the heel, notice the other side all the way into the belly, the arms. Plant that foot, press into it, and allow the other leg to come and join it. Drag the sit bones to one side while you roll to the other for Flamingo. We'll start off with a beautiful rolling twist here. So you may need your blanket. So once you bring your lower arm outward, have the top hand rest in it and the head downward. If this is too much, it's too much. So careful not to put up with. You'll reach for your blanket and bring a little bit in. So you don't need a great big giant pillow. Maybe a small little bit of elevation of the head is enough for that bottom shoulder to feel better. Then once you can feel that this is feeling pretty good, then take a few breaths in this shape. Top hand, rest in that bottom hand. Now this variation is going to be all about arcs. So that top arm will arc up, not yet though, towards the ceiling. And it can also paint above the crown an arc. So just in your mind's eye, I want to plant that seed. But we're going to start with the lower half first. So take that top toe that's resting in the arch of that bottom foot and draw a line down to the bottom of your mat and let the top hip come forward, outreach the bottom hand, roll onto the forehead. Hit the pause button there. Take a breath into this shape. And as that top leg starts to drag up, let that top arm float up in an arc, all the way up. The leg comes up towards the belly, dragging up. That top arm opens up while the nose follows it. You'll hit the pause button there, take a breath, and then go ahead and come all the way back while that leg drags down to the bottom of the mat. The top arm comes down, outreaching that bottom hand. Variation 2, as that top leg comes up, draw an arc around the crown. All the way around the crown as the back of the head rolls on the ground, the thigh comes into the belly. Take a breath. And then come all the way back the same way as that top leg drags. Pick any variation, any angle that suits you now. It might be a continuous motion, or you might like to hit the pause button here and there and breathe into stillness as the body relaxes into that shape. Notice that top leg. Let it drag effortlessly up towards the belly as the heart center opens up to the ceiling in a beautiful rolling twist. And one more breath here. Go ahead and roll onto your backs. The knees can remain bent. The feet can come a little wider so the inner knees can knock and the hands can rest on the belly or by your side. Yogi's choice. And now observe. Notice what the body is speaking. What is it saying to you through the pelvis? The legs, all the way to the toes. From the back of the hips to the shoulders, through the arms, to the middle of the brain. Spend a few breaths noticing how you feel. And one more breath just like that. And we'll come on over to the other side when you're ready. So bring your blanket with you just in case, but you might not need it on this side. So as that bottom arm comes out and the top hand comes to rest in that bottom hand, let the head come down. And this side might feel delicious. Top leg rests in that bottom leg. And feel for a moment as you draw a line down. Outreach that bottom hand, roll onto the forehead, and hit the pause button and take a breath. From here, as that top leg starts to drag up, let the top hand float up in that arc. All the way you roll on the back of the skull. The nose follows that hand, that top hand, into a twist. Take a breath. And come on back the same way. Nice and slow, like the second hand on a clock. Smooth, fluid-like. This next one, as the leg drifts up towards the belly, the arm can paint an arc around the crown, the top of the crown. Coming home the same way you went in. And then now yogi's choice. Choose the angles that suit you. Observe and witness now from the inside out all the sensations in your body in this moment. Each time coming into Flamingo, a different body, wringing out, cleansing out, and inviting the new. Let this be playful and fun. And one more breath here. And then go ahead and roll onto your backs. Come into your body scan. Beautiful. Nice. And witness for a moment the toes dancing. The legs, feel the sensation through the top of the toes to the knees, through the top of the thighs, through that lower belly, all the way through the rib cage, the heart center to the shoulders, deep dive through the brow where you think the center of the brain lives. And take a deep breath there, noticing how you feel. And then one more breath, just like that. Go ahead and point the toes up. Drag one heel while you observe the other side. Press into that foot and then drag the other and allow it to join in. So here's where we're going to come into our advanced lower back QL release. And so the QL, its nickname is the hip hiker. So the quadratus lumborum, this silk-like muscle, is if you brought your fingers, your palm, you rolled to one side, let the knees come to one side with them bent. You can bring the heel of your hand to the bottom of the rib cage and your fingertips, the bottom, the top of the pelvis. It's approximately right there on both sides. Then go ahead and come back onto your back. And just notice, yes, that's a targeted area, but the body doesn't think in bits and pieces. So where the body corrects and lengthens in one area, the whole body receives. So we'll start on the right side. Knees are bent, palms are on the lower belly. Go ahead and feel that right foot. Let that hip come up slowly, like you're peeling it off the mat. Let it rise upward and then lowering it down slowly. We're going to do this 3 times. Same side, let that hip gently come upward. Maybe a new height, a different angle of the knee. And then it lowers downward. And now we'll add on, let the arms come by your side. That right hip now will rise up, hit the pause button and send that right shoulder down. Head rolls to the right and hold. Feel the muscles in the back body on that edge of the body. And then relax that effort. We'll do that 3 times. The hip will come up, let it float. That right shoulder will come down. Head will roll in that direction. Pause. And then unfurl. Let that side of the body relax and soften. We'll come into it again. Hip up. Shoulder down. Head rolls in that general direction. Hold. And then relax that effort. So now we'll add on. So let the hip come up. Shoulder down. Squeeze the inner knees just a wee bit. And then relax that effort. 2 more times just like that. Hip up. Shoulder down as the head rolls there. Squeeze. Relax. And 1 more, a little quicker. Hip up, shoulder down, squeeze. And then, Last add-on. This one's the icing on the cake. So go ahead and let the hips slowly roll up. Shoulder slowly roll down as the head rolls in that direction. Squeeze the inner knees. Now press into both feet and lift the pelvis right off of the floor. Feel the inseam Let the right side lower to the floor first, and then the other side. Rest. Notice what you notice for a moment, 2 or 3, and we'll come into that 2 more times. So when you're ready, you let the right hip slowly come up, shoulder down as the head rolls in that direction. Squeeze the inseam, lift the pelvis all the way up. Right side comes down first, then the left. Rest and take a deep breath. You earned it. How about one more for good luck? Let that right hip come up. Shoulder down, head rolls. Squeeze the inseam. Lift the pelvis. Let the right side come down first. Relax and soften. Lengthen through one leg and then the other. Very important to rest. That might have been big for some of our bodies. Just noticing the toes wriggle. Divide through, right down the center line, the navel center. And now feel the right toes, the whole length of that leg. And now feel the left leg all the way to where it meets the torso. Through the lower back, one side, the other, all the way through the rib cage to the shoulders, from one side to the other. Deep dive through the brow to the center of the brain. Let it soften, soften, soften as you pour a little loving kindness in through your breath. A little self-love through these movements, noticing how you feel. And one more breath, just like that. Then go ahead and point the toes up. Drag one heel at a time as you observe the other. And then with both knees bent, press into the feet and just a light little arc and flatten now in between these sets. It's really nice to arc and flatten. So take a nice deep inhale and arc. Feel the tail come down as you arc that lower spine. And as you exhale into the navel, flatten, and you'll feel the tail gently float up as you flatten. A few just like that. Inhale, arc. Exhale, flatten. And one more just like that. And then soften through that effort. We'll come on over to the other side when you're ready. Feel the other foot, that left foot, and let that hip fluid-like come upward. And just notice where it wants to come, how high it wants to come up. Lowering down at your own pace, slowly. 2 more times. Feel the lift. And then you lower. Let it be playful. So as it comes down, just notice all the sensations as the arms now come and float to your side. On your next natural breath, let that left hip come up and the shoulder come down. Head rolls in that general direction as you pause. And then soften that effort. And again, the hip comes up, shoulder down. And this side might be a little bit easier for you. Or it might feel like rocket science. It can go either way. So maybe it got the memo, maybe not. Just noticing how you feel. One more. Hip comes up, shoulder down, head rolls in that general direction. Pause. And then unwind. Here we go, adding on. Hip comes up. Shoulder down, a light little squeeze. It can be a 1% squeeze. And then undo. Again, the hip comes up, shoulder down, maybe a 4% squeeze of the inseam, and then undo. So keep that squeeze relatively soft. So hip comes up, shoulder down, inseam comes towards each other, a little press, and then we undo. And now we'll add on, go ahead and let that hip come up, press the shoulder down, squeeze, press through both feet as you lift the pelvis right off of the floor. Left comes down first, and then you roll the right down. Take a breath. Give yourself permission to pause here longer in between, or go ahead and join in. On your next natural breath, left hip comes up, shoulder down, squeeze the inseam, lift the pelvis up, left side comes down first, then the right. Take a breath. And then one more for good luck. Let that hip come up, maybe just a little bit this time. Challenge yourself to do a little lower. Shoulder down. Press it just a little less. Squeeze just a little less. Lift the pelvis up, not too high. Left side comes down, and then the other. Lengthen through the legs, one at a time, as you observe. Relax through the jaw. Notice what you feel. These seeds of joy start to blossom, and they might take shape. You might even have these sensations of euphoria here and there, a tingling right from the toes through the legs, through the sit bones, the lower spine, receiving to the shoulders, to the middle of the brain. Maybe it feels like a blossoming right there. Take a few well-deserved breaths. And notice how you feel. Then point the toes up, drag one heel at a time while you observe all of that yummy goodness in the lower spine. Drag that area one way while you roll to the other. Use that momentum to press into the mat and come up. We're going to come into our supported pigeon pose. So bring your heart bed back to front and center. You might even like to drape a blanket over if you'd like. I have my left thigh butted up to the bolster, and you might have your right thigh, but just notice which is that I'm going to call the thigh that's closest to the bolster. And then that baby toe edge is on the floor. The back thigh can rest in that sole of the foot if that's available. You can bring that all about while you're laying down if it's not available right now. Then lift the hands right up off the floor and let yourself rotate all the way towards the bolster. Hands come down on either side and just notice what you feel. This is a beautiful twist, right just like this. Then notice where the elbows are, let them come out, and then hug them towards each other like a magnetic pull towards each other. As they bend, notice they point down towards the legs, and then tap your nose. Then press up through the thumb and the first finger. As you come down, feel the whole torso lengthen and grow a little taller. You come up, and then you come down, resting the temple, the ear, the cheek, anywhere that feels good. The arms can come out to the side, elbows like weights from the shoulders. This non-grasping of the upper half now. Just feel the this deep relaxation. Notice how it feels and allow the whole body to rest. And if it was unavailable to have the feet in that scenario that we were discussing, now feel the leg that's closest to the bolster, that foot, leave that baby toe edge on the floor, and just drag the thigh towards it. We'll come into a little bit of pendiculation now, a little squeeze and release. So go ahead and bring the thigh into the foot and that baby toe edge down into the floor. Notice what muscles switch on and then relax that effort. You might notice a broadening and widening of the back of the pelvis, the targeted area. A few more times just like that. The thigh can come into the foot offers resistance, the baby toe edge comes down into the floor. Notice what you feel. Relax that effort and Maybe that's you feel complete with that, or you can go ahead and do that again. Some of you, for a few breaths, can lift the head. Let the nose point over to the other direction. Let the cheek, temple, or ear rest down. If that feels delicious, you can stay there. If it doesn't, then on your next natural breath, go ahead and bring it back in full control. Stay in your power and care not to fling out. This is a beautiful pose to relieve pain in the lower back, improve that flexibility in forward bending. So allow yourself to stay in this for a little longer. Careful not to look at me. I'm not mirroring the pose. So go ahead and stay in this. I'm careful not to stay in it too long. It feels just too delicious. We'll be in it for a little too long. So I got my eye on the clock. And let me be the timekeeper here for a few more breaths. The whole body draping. Breathe, send some breath into that rib cage. Allow the belly to broaden and widen. And as you exhale, drape just a little bit more. And one more breath, just like that. When you're ready, go ahead and if the head's over to the other side, drag the hands below, lift the head wherever it is, and walk the hands to you. Bring your back to the bolster. Lengthen through one leg as you paddle the toes. Then draw it up. And then the other leg and paddle the toes. Then lengthen through both legs, and like the legs are made out of wet clay, go ahead and smooth that clay out. And maybe you stay up, or the knees need a little bit of love, so circle around the knees all the way down and up, as far as you comfortably can. Give a little drum roll of the back of the thighs into the floor. And then let's go on to the other side. So coming into our supportive pigeon, other side. So now maybe you were like me. Now the right thigh is butted up to the bolster. That foot, feel the baby toe edge on the floor. The sole of the foot resting in that back thigh. Then lift the arms up. Rotate the whole torso towards the bolster. Plant the hands on either side. Magnetic pull of the elbows towards each other. Bend and tap that nose. A little lift. Lengthen and lower. Lift, lengthen, and lower. Let yourself rest here. Cheek, temple, ear. Feel your unique range of motion on this side as the elbows come out from the shoulders like weights down to the floor. Feel and sense the whole body drape over your props. Letting go. Let the breath fill you up in this shape. Beautiful. Now feel the leg that's closest to the bolster. Feel the other thigh come into that foot with a light little press. The baby toe edge, just your awareness is enough, feeling the floor. No need to press. And then you relax that effort. Feeling and breathing through your awareness into lower lumbar sacral spine, that lower back. 2 or 3 more times like that. Feeling now the right edge of that baby toe edge. The back thigh coming in, a little squeeze. And then that deep relaxation as you let go. Notice how you feel. That might be enough, or maybe one more time. Yogi's choice to stay exactly the way you are, or for one wee minute, inviting the upper spine to the party with a little lift of the head. Rotate the nose to the opposite side. Let the cheek, the temple, or the ear come down and breathe into that shape and notice how that feels. If it feels delicious, please stay. If it starts to grow and it doesn't feel as that your trust will remain in this. Your breath won't fill it up. Then on your next breath, just lift and come right back to start. Relax through the jaw a little bit more. Send some breath into that belly, the back rib cage as it starts to expand outward in all directions. Draping just a little more on that exhale. And one more breath. On your next natural breath, go ahead and drag the hands underneath the shoulders. Hug the elbows towards each other. Press through the thumb and the first finger into the floor. Allow yourself to come up. Whatever you're using for the Mighty Mitra, go ahead and grab it and have it ready. But first, come on down into your body scan. So you scan the body before we come into another pose. Just having your Mighty Mitra close by, whatever you're using. So let the legs splay out. Let the toes dance that dance of joy once again. Notice through the legs all the way through. Notice all that sensation. This goodness on the inside. Wringing out. And one more breath, just like that. Feel that deep appreciation towards yourself. Then go ahead and bend up both knees. You can roll to one side. Take the mitra with the stripe up, or take your noodle, or maybe you're using a rolled mat or a rolled blanket. If that's the case, it will be the length of the spine. If you're using a noodle or the Mighty Mitra, it will live right at the bra strap area at first until we can start to dial that in. So where you think the bottom of the shoulder blade is, root into that, and then take the hands behind the skull, chin to chest, and lengthen the head up, 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 and then lower. Knees are still bent here because we might need to inchworm down or up. So trace the rib cage up to the xiphoid process, that little notch, right at below the sternum. Give a little press into the feet, a press into that sternum, and just notice, is the mitra on the other side of that? And then relax down, but leave the knees bent for a moment and have the arms by your side. From there, you'll press into both feet, lift the sit bones up, lengthen them down, and feel them lengthen from where you're rooted into the mitra, and then lower. Just a few just like that, a little lift of the pelvis, lengthen and lower. And one more for good luck. From here, go ahead and sway the knees to one side. Where the knees pointed, let that palm roll up, the other palm down. As the knees come through center, press into that lower lumbar spine. Let it feel like it's flattening. Knees point to the palm that's up. Let the other palm float down. The arms can move to any angle here, so they don't have to stay. And you might be craving stillness. So if movement like this doesn't feel delicious, then bring your bolster underneath your back of your thighs. The soles of your feet can come together, and let yourself rest. And one more minute here. And one more breath. Go ahead and roll to the side. Take the hand above the crown. Take your mitra out, or whatever you're using as your mighty mitra. Take it out. Use your blanket as a blanket. The legs can unfurl over the bolster here, and let yourself rest. Final resting pose, Shavasana. Feel the whole body sink and soften in. Deep relaxation. You've earned it. Feel the muscles around the eyes soften just a little more. The jaw slacken. The shoulders sink and soften. All the muscles start to loosen their grip. Feel the bones float in the connective tissue as you receive. Let yourself rest here now. The cards that were drawn for our practice tonight. Divine courage. When our journey is blocked, sometimes all that is needed is to move forward with a little courage. Divine courage. When our journey is blocked, sometimes all that is needed to move forward is a little courage. The other card that floated into this class is divine clarity. When we have clarity, we can be better prepared to see and make better choices. Divine clarity. When we have clarity, we can be better prepared to see and make better choices. Deepen through the breath. Allow the awareness gently to float up. Feel through all your senses the coolness of the breath, the skin, the subtle movement of the fingers, the arms, the legs, as the body starts to wake up into this new normal. A little rock from side to side, a luxurious stretch. Rest on one side in fetal position when you can. Connect to that inner grin. Feel that power within. And use it to press into the floor. Let the head remain heavy as you roll up through the spinal column. Head comes up very last. Find your comfortable seat slowly. Use your blankets as a blanket. Sit your pelvis up if it feels better and the knees don't have to bend. So maybe you might need some height for the sit bones. Then go ahead and take the palms towards each other. Feel the warmth as you do so. This warmth of appreciation towards yourself. Thumbs at the sternum with a little press. The support all around you and within. Take a breath into it. A light little bow as we pour this yummy goodness out beyond these walls as loving kindness to all. Namaste. And thank you for your practice.